Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What is up, my party people? Happy Tuesday to you. Glad to be back here with you. We got a great week of content planned for you guys. Obviously, Saturday was G-Day. If you've been here, plugged in, subscribed to the channel, you've probably already most likely watched the quarterback film review, came away with your own takeaways off of the film that we presented for you. I thought all three quarterbacks, going back and rewatching the film after watching the film and breaking it down for you, thought all three quarterbacks played relatively well. Thought Carson played, on time. Had some really good decisions and some great ball placement. It was extremely accurate on the day. Felt like Brock Vandagriff did the things with his legs that we expect him to do without having the ability to fully unleash those capabilities, right? With the proximity, or rather the way in which the scrimmage gone about, right? That is I've always said he is a full whistle football player. He needs that environment to fully unlock his capabilities. Very similar thing for Gunnar Stockton. But I thought as a whole, the offense and the quarterbacks operated really, really well on Saturday. I thought we did a good job of showing that to you. If you didn't watch it, go back and take a look at it. Today, we have the linebackers, and we have two different units, right? We had that first group with Jamon Dumas-Johnson and Xavier Sorey. Didn't get a chance to look at Smile Mondon due to a foot injury. Honestly, I take that as a good thing for Georgia because we got a full look at what Xavier Sorey has become as a traditional inside linebacker. We've been talking about it all spring, how we didn't really know what he was coming out of high school. He was this 6'3", 220-pound, like hybrid edge rusher, box player type football player, and didn't really know what he was going to be, how he was going to be, and what to do with him once he got to college. Same kind of story the last couple of years. Didn't really know what to do with him. Tried to play him on third downs early in his career. Now trying to mold him into that third linebacker, right, behind JDJ, Smile Mondon, and now Xavier Sorey, right? So we got to see him at full length on Saturday, and we saw some what I call that 10,000-hour theory rule, right? We saw a really, really talented football player Saturday, and we're going to show you a really talented football player, but some things that need to get cleaned up and ultimately will get cleaned up with repetition, right? This is a football player that's not played a ton of live action, just getting the reps over practice the last couple of years. Those two young linebackers, I told the Discord this morning, I think C.J. Allen could start in the SEC right now today. Tomorrow, yesterday, whenever 33 is ready to play. We'll show you that tonight. I think Raylan Wilson, athletically gifted, talent-wise, all that good stuff, sideline to sideline, he's going to be as good, if not better, than anybody you've ever had. But there are a lot of things to clean up, and just in terms of playbook knowledge, right? Particularly with regards to the drops, all right? Dropping into coverage. I know he had a pick six Saturday, but dropping into coverage, there's a lot of time on film that we're going to show you today where 5 looks, I'm not going to say lost, but he looks like he's a little slow to move, which for him is lost. That is a very instinctual and fast-moving football player. Glad you guys are in with us today. Don't really have a take or rant to start you off with, just some general information and knowledge about the channel. Glad you guys have been with us this offseason. I feel that if you have been here, and if you have been on Patreon, and if you have been paying attention to Dogs Daily, by God, you are getting everything a Georgia fan could possibly ever want. And that's the goal, right? That is the goal, to be, as Aaron Murray called us, a one-stop shop for everything Dogs football, right? That's what we try to be. That's what the company aspires to be, and I hope you guys feel that we achieve that on a day-to-day basis. Glad you could be here. Hit that thumbs up button, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. If you want the full version of today's video, we'll see you over on Patreon just as this one ends, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We got a saying around here. It's very special, and it means a lot. It means that we are in the midst of a brief, and albeit brief, football season. And what does that say, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. Let's shut up and let's grind that tape. Let's get after it, man. Obviously, we talked about there needing to be some, what we called it, refinement, right? With Xavier Sorey, we called it the 10,000-hour theory. All that is, hey, I'm just saying the guy needs reps, right? So as he creeps through, he does a great job here of beating Ernest Green across his face. But once he gets through the line of scrimmage, hey, we got to unzip our feet, right? I like to teach defensive football players to not go past the heels of the offensive lineman. So right about now, hey, you are at the heels, or you were at the heels of the offensive line, right? We were right here. Once we get past here, there's a lot of green grass for this guy to kind of work around us and work his magic. You know, the bag drills that he's taught to do, right? You're taught to stay with your heels to the end of the line of scrimmage or back behind the line of scrimmage, all right? Not get too far upfield. And he's taught, hey, make the first defender miss. Dejon doing a great job of that right here. But Xavier, as we get, more and more reps, I would expect 18 to make this TFL and make this tackle. Again, these are things that we get to see guys like Nakobe, who plays as a young linebacker. We get to see guys like Jamon Dumas Johnson and Smile Monda. We get to see them make these mistakes and correct them as their careers progress. We will see the same thing, I would imagine, with Xavier Sorey. Now, this very next play, this is kind of on both. We told you earlier in the week, we're probably not going to do a bunch of defensive back evaluation and a bunch of wide receiver evaluation because we don't get to see a ton of them. However, we get to get a little minus here for these two guys, one of them a DB included, that being Javon Ballard. This is 22 right here, and this is 18. Now, here's the problem. As soon as you get jet motion from this bunch, okay, we've talked about on this channel for years, teams bunch with purpose, offenses bunch with purpose, particularly yours, right? If they are bunching up for a reason, right? If all 11 players are within a 12-yard box, it's probably for a purpose, particularly when they send jet motion. So here's the problem. Once they send jet motion, I've got to see some type of reaction, and I see one from these guys, right? All three of these guys are keying. He's firing. He's running with the man motion. Malachi is condensing space as well. We're leaving Nyland Green on the backside by himself. The only problem here, right, is these guys are dead in the water. None of these dudes on the front side move at all. So as the play continues, downset hut, we get to the actual mesh point of the play. They are just now keying to jet motion. Well, the problem with that is this guy's a 4.22 runner. You're not going to catch him if you didn't get the leverage and gain the leverage prior to the actual snap of the football. So to run it back, you'll actually see the result of the play. It's a difference of a matter of inches, right? It's that. That's it. If we just take a step as soon as we see the jet motion deuce, we might actually get to this play. Again, man, got to notice these things as things are playing, as things are flying, and check it out. New position for this guy. Typically in years past, he was playing probably right here down the line of scrimmage. They're actually in a base personnel, so he probably wouldn't even be on the field in years past. In years past, this was probably number 29, playing traditional safety, right? And I guarantee you, Chris Smith, knowing him, as soon as he saw jet motion from 11, he would expand and gain ground and get some depth and some width, right? Same thing will eventually happen with 22. And as for that matter, and for tonight's film study purposes, so will 18. When we see things like that in front of us, we got to react. We got to respond. We got to gain ground because right now, look, hey, guys, if we're just right here, right, and if we're just right here, just a little bit, just 1 foot, 1 yard, that is the difference at the end of this play. That's the difference between a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and goal from the 2 and a touchdown, right? Boom. Just that. Get up to 249. This is a massive, massive hit from C.J. Allen. I'm sure we'll see a ton of this in his career. This is that waggle play we showed you last night from the quarterbacks when we evaluated them. We're going to pin down, work out. We're going to work the deep over here. Don't know what Morissette's got, but he's out of the picture by the time this happens. So what is to happen here, right? Well, Raylan Wilson is ultimately responsible primarily for run support, right? But then as soon as the run does not happen, you are to gain ground, get your eyes on whatever is crossing, okay, and figure it out, right? Find it and get up underneath it and play underneath it and deliver it to the safety on the front side, okay? There you go. Boom. That right there, okay, is too much ground. That right there is the difference in what should be a completion right here, and ultimately it is not. I mean, it's a tackle for CJ because he's in a great position and pairing right here with the tight end. However, if this ball is completed and this ball is thrown correctly, all right, it's a completion to Jackson Meeks, and it's because the bite down on Raylan is just a little bit too much, right? It's just a little bit too much. Now, the recovery speed is there. He will eventually catch up with that guy, but that ball definitely should have been thrown to 9, and it should have been thrown to 9 because of this couple of steps right here from 5 at the top of the snap. Boom, 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 boom. Just a little bit hesitant and a little bit slow to pick up and find this guy. Got to find that guy immediately. 332. These are young linebackers in their drops, man. Really, really young linebackers in their drop. They look tentative. They look like they don't really know where they're going, right? Raylan's turning and running, but not really gaining a ton of ground for such an athlete. Like, this is an athlete that runs 23 miles an hour. Watch him in his drop right here as he goes to turn and run. This doesn't look like a guy who's 100% confident in his stride pattern, right? That's not a guy that's 100% confident in what he's doing just yet. To be expected. Same thing for 33, even though they kind of tell one of these linebackers, you got to run vertical, right? One of these linebackers has to push vertical with number 2. The other linebacker kind of has to gain ground and width right here and play with square shoulders and keep his eye on the quarterback while also maintaining any type of checks out of the backfield, right? So it's kind of the dual roles of those two backers right there. But you can just tell as we show you the older guys, you'll see their drops and you'll be like, oh, yeah, those two young guys, they're not quite gaining as much ground. They're not covering as much grass as some of these older guys. For 351, I'm going to tell you what, this guy, when he gets it all figured out, this number 5, man, when he gets this stuff figured out, because I know he's athletic enough to do it, but when he starts turning and running and when they isolate him out here and somebody speed outs him, he starts undercutting and knocking balls down like Nakobe Dean. When that stuff starts happening, we got All-American status on our hands with Raylan Wilson from an evaluation standpoint. But until then, this is going to play, and this is going to play on first and second down everywhere you go. Look at this running to the football, guys. That is a motor. That is 23 miles an hour. That is undercutting when you shouldn't, right? That is the ability to get flatlined here and still chase this ball carrier down. That is not normal, except for him it is. Like, this is a guy who in high school was a legitimate 23-mile-an-hour runner. This is a guy that put sub 11 seconds down on the track pretty frequently with regards to his top end speed. And I do think, the more and more I watch him, he's going to move. There's going to be a lot of plays where Raylan moves first, and he moves in a direction that doesn't quite make sense to everybody else on the field, but he sees something, okay? I do believe both of these young linebackers have tremendous linebacker instincts, and that's not always common. I think a guy like Smile Mondon had to learn linebacker instincts and let his athleticism to take over, whereas a guy like Jamon Dumas-Johnson has had to learn freakishness, right? Train athletic freakishness, while the linebacking instincts and the spatial awareness has always been there, that type of stuff. But this dude just seems to move first, right? And he seems to move into the correct place at the right time. Check out CJ Allen, his co-partner right next to him. He's moving left, right? He's getting a bunch of action with the cross action from the tight end here and the guard working up. He's getting a lot of action that might indicate, hey, we might be getting run this way. So he's plugging here, whereas Raylan is all the way on the line of scrimmage about to strike the offensive lineman right here, basically at the line of scrimmage. Boom. Now, I do think we guessed a little bit. I think we jump a shoulder here as opposed to playing the midline of the body of the offensive lineman. If you can kind of see right here, guys, we're playing the left shoulder of that offensive lineman. We are taught, or we are teaching rather, as football coaches, we are teaching rather linebackers to what we call butt and press. I'm glad I put this helmet here. All right, so call it butt and press. You want butt with the screws of your helmet, okay? Butt him right on the screws of his helmet. We want to butt and we want to press. We want to be right down the midline of that offensive lineman. If we pick a side, in other words, if we go to his left or we go to his right, well, guess what's happening? The ball carrier that is behind him is reading that. All right, they are reading how their offensive linemen are delivering blocks, and they are delivering those blocks as running backs as well as they press the hole. Okay, all of this is happening simultaneously. If you pick a side as a linebacker, okay, if you pick left or right, well, guess what a good running back's going to do? The good running back's just going to go left. Okay, you picked the left shoulder here, giving that left side of that run lane open, and ultimately that's what creates this first down on 3rd and 1. Boom, that little bitty crease. Had we maybe struck that midline and butted right down the midline of that offensive lineman, perhaps we keep that from happening. Nonetheless, a great reaction from Raylan Wilson, and it makes a +2, or what should have been a +6, into a +2. But still room for improvement, right? That's all I'm trying to show you. I got a Jesus CJ here on the notes here in a second. Yeah, this is the 3rd and 17 swing pass here. Um, this is Georgia football. Okay, this is Georgia football. I get a lot of questions. Brooks, how does Georgia stay as fast as they are? Are they just faster than everybody? Yeah, they're just faster than everybody else. This is a 10.98 runner in CJ Allen at 235 pounds. Like it's impossible. Like when you have quantifiable data like this, it's impossible to deny, right? When guys like this go out to tracks in South Georgia and they run like they run, it's no duh that it pops up on tape the very first time they step into college football. The very first time they're out leveraged by 3 yards and they run it down like a goddamn deer, all right, it pops up. This is why they recruit it. This is why they strap catapults on every single kid that comes through campus. This is why they do not care about 40s anymore. They only care about top end speeds. How fast can you run? When you are playing football, how fast are you going? Because right now, this is all that matters in college football. When teams are stretching east to west, by God, you better be able to track it east and west. And that's exactly what 33 does. And all of these linebackers at the University of Georgia do because they prioritize it on the trail. They prioritize it on the trail. There are no secrets. .541. Someone has to collision. Has to. Collision number 4 right here. The tight end's going to slip out into an arrow right here. And whether it's EJ Lightsey or whether it's the defensive end or whoever it is, somebody has to collision and then take number 4 out of the backfield. No one does it. He runs wide open. I don't care if it's 18, the defensive end that gets hands on, 25. Somebody has got to get hands on that tight end and reroute him right now, because all that's going to happen is he's going to run the green grass unevaded, right? As you're trying to pursue the quarterback, and boom, he's going to catch the ball. He's going to be wide open. Some people might see this and say, hey, what was Xavier Sorey doing? Well, I'll tell you, it's right there in front of you. It's pretty obvious he had the tight end. So somebody, I'm not saying I've seen Nakobe Dean blow past the arrow route. I've seen it happen, this split tight end. So I'm not saying it's his responsibility, but I also watch Nakobe not just run by that guy, right? You got to throw and disrupt the timing somehow. We have got to collision that tight end as he goes by. Somebody get a hand on him, reroute him somehow, some way. Don't just let him free release into the flat and catch a ball and get upfield for 12 yards. 631. I haven't necessarily seen all of it on tape, but I know for a fact they are a huge believer in this guy, EJ Lightsey, out of Fitzgerald, Georgia. We did his original commitment video to Florida. I think he's an immensely talented football player, physically as gifted as anybody else in that room. Maybe not anybody else in that room, but super, super gifted. But another one of these players, man, ain't been on the field a whole lot, right? Ain't been on the field a whole lot. So when he's getting, like they're running split zone back this way, you're getting a base block here, they're clearly comboing up to you. Like, dude, there is a obvious crease right in front of your face. You have got to shrink space and get in there. You have got to shrink space, close your shoulders up, and get in there and provide some type of presence, not continue to float back into the midline of the defense, right? Why are we floating this way? The ball carrier is going right here. We have got to do a better job of identifying when we are on the front side, when we are on the back side. Everything in front of you right now, 25, says you are on the front side. Everything about it. The out calls from the offensive tackles and the offensive line, right? This motion, this combination through this nose up to you. You are the point of the defense for this offensive line blocking concept right now. And nothing upon your film evaluation or nothing upon your actions right now indicate that you know where the read key is, and nothing upon the results tell me that you know where the read key is. Look at it. He's sitting dead in the water. All right. Again, I mean, these are guys that don't play a ton, right? These are guys that don't play a ton yet. Hey, I like this guy. Terrell Foster. No. Excuse me. That's CJ Allen. Terrell Foster, walk-on linebacker from IMG Academy. So you know he's been playing dudes, all right? I spoke to some people, and you're going to see the film today. This dude earned himself some playing time. It's not on the defense. Not going to get playing time on this defense. But this dude earned playing time on this football team, on special teams, and other stuff, doing that right there. That is identification. Okay, watch how fast that sucker's coming downhill. He identified, hey, run right, boom. He's going to key, come downhill immediately, strike. I don't love how he struck on the left shoulder of that guard, but that's fine. He sticks his head in the hole and clogs that thing up and end up coming up with a tackle right there. I like me some Terrell Foster, man. You're going to see a couple of those on the tapes today. You're going to see a couple of those. We're going to 751. Feet off the floor. This ain't it. Like, this dude knows this too. And this is the only bad clip I think we have of him in his 4 years, I feel like, or his 3 years, I feel like, at Georgia. This is not the dude that, was should have been a Buckus Award winner or a finalist last year. Run through the block. Come on. That's not it. He knows that. I ain't even got to reharp on that one. He knows that. That's not 10. All right. I get a lot of questions. Not necessarily a lot of questions, but I love when I see on film things that say, all right, hey, like you think you can play this position in the SEC, right? This is what it requires. You think you can play this position? There are a bunch of these dudes physically. Okay? There's not a bunch of hymns, right? Brock Bowers is one of one. Do not get me wrong. But the idea that there is a 6'4", 230-pound dude that's running 4.48s, guys, I don't mean to demean that type of feat, but that is everywhere nowadays. Every school in the SEC has one of these. So, or worse, they got some slot guy that's a 4.22 guy. And either way, nonetheless, at some point in your career and at some point on Saturdays, particularly if you can't do it, they are going to say, hey, 19's running a vertical. Okay, y'all got one safety in the middle of the field. 18, you're going to have to turn and run with him. And if you can't, we are going to eat you alive for a 70-yard touchdown right here, right now. Okay, so if you think that you are a recruit or that you are an evaluator and you are trying to slot guys into this, if they cannot do this, play the run, stuff a guard, play the sideline, run down a jet, turn and run and spin and run vertically with number 3 or number 2, then guess what? They can't play in the SEC. If they can only do this, or if they can only do this, or if they can only do this and can't do the other two things, then they can't play there because the spot requires them to do all of these things simultaneously. You have to be just as good turning your hips and running as you are finding a hole and coming downhill and filling a gap. Just as good. Hey, I'm recording a film study. Is this urgent? I'll call you back later, all right? All right, bye. He knows. I don't know why you asked that question. He knows who it is. Let's see here. Where are we going next? 906, the very next clip. Got to shrink space right here. Xavier. Hey, look, you're getting one-on-one, right? They are attacking you here on whatever it is. I don't know what the down and distance is right here. It looks like 1st and 10. They are attacking you with an angle route. They are going to press him up. He is going to square you up right here. Okay, this is one-on-one football. This is what you do during 7-on-7 one-on-one period. You have worked this 1,000 times in your practice leading up to this type of event. So here's what I would tell you. Not one time ever did you shrink space. Okay, not once. Right about now, okay, as soon as you know he's checking out, we cannot remain flatlined right here. We have got to shrink space, okay, and at least try to disrupt and get hands-on. All right, if we could disrupt and get hands-on, we have now getting back to our advantage. If we just let him free release, press up on our toes, and have all of this space, okay, all of this space to work a two-way go, by God, Bubba, we're probably going to lose, particularly if he's that much smaller and more jittery, right? More quicker than we are. Boom, snaps it off, gets back inside. Shrink the space. That's all. Shrink the space. We cannot remain at the same level that we started the football play with. 18, come on. Come on. Come on, 18. We got a plug, baby. We got a plug. All right? Once we start seeing this, we start seeing guard and tackle, or guard and tight end. Okay, we start seeing down, and around. We have got to plug. We got to come down right now. Paya. We have got to fire. When we see dead hard key run giveaways like this, all right? We cannot catch this block from 4. That's not what we're doing. We are meeting, we are striking, we are fitting. We have got to fit this counter right here. Got to. Great job bringing it, Delt. Great job bringing it, Delt. Finish, though, Bubba. Finish, though. Come on, man. 4, we're going to get to you guys later, but come on, finish, bro. Finish. Get in there. Get in there aggressively, attentively, like 58, okay? Like 63, okay? Like 18's trying to, okay? Come on. Yes, sir, 10. Yes, sir, 10. I don't know what we're yes sirring, but we're yes sirring it. Yes, sir, right here, 10. Yes, sir. That's how you play it. That's how you play it. That's how you strike a damn guard in the mouth. Look at that. Pow! Right there in the daggum screws. Ain't no picking aside. Ain't no doing nothing. That's right down the helmet. All right. When we press out, right? We butted. Now we're pressing out. Now they have no choice. They have no choice but to run right into the butt of the offensive lineman. All right. That's how you fit a hole. That's how you pop right there. Boom. That's it. Hands inside and shed. Pad level Tate. Pad level Tate. Pad level and click catching. Look, we're catching that at the line of scrimmage. Gain ground, man. Gain ground. This is the touchdown we looked at earlier. We told you we're gonna look at defensive backs as they come. I don't understand the hesitancy here from one. It looks to me like he's got it clear as day. He knows what he's supposed to be doing. He just sits on it like he's expecting Arian to break back out. Like, dude, you're right there. Drive down now. Do not hesitate. The only other thing I can think is maybe he's worried about the arrow from Dejan. Look at his eyes. I mean, he's looking through 2 into the backfield. I just don't understand why there's hesitancy to think you've got to continue to go out here. You've got to drive down right now. You're the one getting attacked. Go. Especially like when we're in the red zone right there on the goal line, we gotta have a sense of urgency, right? We gotta have a ticker in our own head. We gotta know where we're at, what the situation is. Same kind of iffy. You know, I'm sitting here telling these linebackers and these young linebackers in particular, like we got a key, right? We were talking about Xavier and Story, got a key. Well, we have to key, but also turn and run like as fast as possible because this is the same exact thing I told you. They're going to continue to attack when they get linebacker flow this hard. All right, somebody's got to run with that deep over right there from Jackson Meeks and do it right now because that's the target. That's where they're headed. And I think that right there, if we clean up that difference in recognition, that's the difference between first year play, second year play, third year play, right? That is progression as an athlete, progression as a football player that we aspire to find on tape. So this would be a good little measuring stick for us to come back and look this fall when he inevitably gets on the field, because I think he's going to. Again, getting a little lost. Somebody's got to take the tight, guys. Somebody's got to take the tight end, okay? They're running truck sweep action. They're going to run a vertical here. I believe they're hooking here, and they're doing something with denial on there. But somebody has to take the tight end, and somebody has to take the back, all right? So I don't know who it is, but to me it looks like Raylan's the one with an oopsie here because, as we know on this channel, okay, 2 Ds and 1 H is not good. All right, 2 Ds and 1 H is not good. We got a free runner right there. I would imagine it's probably on Raylan based off what we've seen today. Okay. I don't necessarily love seeing guys bust on assignments. But when it comes to a freshman, I would much rather see him busting on assignments than getting his ass physically whooped. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay if he's not necessarily in the right spot at the right time. Okay. But when he gets there, if he's being physically dominated, that scares me. Or if he just can't get to the spot because he's not fast enough, he's not what we thought physically, that scares me as a football coach. But if I get out there and he's just not fitting holes correctly, or if he's a little slow to process, or if his keys just aren't as quick as his teammates, well, by God, I think those are things that we can teach. Those are things that we can clear up. That's my job, Glenn Schumann. That's my job to get in there and say, all right, well, he's not quite seeing it as fast as everybody else, but he's the fastest of them all. Those are the things you clean up. Speaking of things you need, okay, you're not cleaning these things up. Speaking of things you need to head over to Patreon, patreon.com/Brooks Austin to get this full eval. We're about halfway through it, and it's some good stuff. So head over, patreon.com/Brooks Austin. We will see you guys over there from the YouTube audience.